So my name is Tori Mystic. I'm a social media consultant here in Pittsburgh. In that line of work, I work with many different retailers, nonprofits, restaurants, real estate companies. It's a big variety of companies that I work for, and I handle their Facebook mostly on a day-to-day basis. So I handle their, Facebook page, also their Twitter, blog, YouTube, Pinterest in some cases. Just different sites that they have as part of their social media strategy. Occasionally, I'll just develop a strategy and then do some training and let them kind of implement it on their own. So today, obviously, we're focusing on Facebook for nonprofits. And earlier today, Ben sent me a list of the registrants for tonight. And if you provided a link to your Facebook page, I was able to check out your Facebook page that you already have. So I have a few sort of tips and tricks in mind for specific organizations. But I'm going to start by just kind of giving an overview, and if anyone feels that this is not providing you the information that you want, just let me know, and I can try to accommodate you. So the first thing I'm going to do is start by looking at a page that I manage so that you can see it from an admin perspective. I'm hoping that all of you are admins on the pages for your organizations. Is that accurate? Yeah. Okay, so you should all be semi-familiar with this. When you log in as an admin, you see the different activity on your page. You'll see private messages. And then this is sort of a personal interface right here. This has to do with you as a person on Facebook and your friends to invite them to like your page. And this is the insights. And we can talk more about insights later. But now, with Facebook, as you all know, it changed over to the timeline view, and so that's what we're looking at right here. We have a cover photo, a profile picture, these different tabs here, and a brief, description area. Below that, you'll see all the different content for your page. So there are some things that have changed a lot with the timeline, and looking over some of your pages, they're all really different places in the lifespan of page, I feel. But I think that there's a lot of new features with the timeline that some of you may not be aware of. So some of those things are highlighting a post. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but what you do when you highlight a post is by clicking that star, like so, it makes your post the full width of the page. So this is really great in particular for photos or for something that's a little bit longer, more wordy post that looks better when it's more spread out. But it's really great for photos, and so this fills up the full width. So it's almost like a secondary cover photo if you wanted to highlight something else down below. And you can highlight a photo album as well, so it would show the big long one and smaller thumbnails for the rest of the album below that. But it's just a great way to highlight your content and to make your page a little bit more interesting to look at. And so that's a new feature. If you want to unhighlight something, you can do that with a click of a button as well. Another cool feature that's new to Timeline, right next to the highlight button, there's a button that you can click that's an edit or remove, but really there's more options than that. Pin to top is another way to highlight a post that you're doing by pinning it to the top of your page. So when you click that and go down here, you'll see that post instantly appears at the very top of your page. So pins will stay up there for 7 days. So if you're having an event coming up, and a lot of nonprofits I know have events coming up, or maybe you have an online fundraising drive going on, I'd definitely recommend pinning a post about one of those activities to the top of your page, so that if someone does visit your page, they'll see it right away. Even if, say you have an event coming up in a month, you don't want to talk about that event every single day and have it in people's news feed every single day, but by pinning this to the top whenever they visit your page, it is sort of highlighted right at the top of the page. Does that make sense? Yeah. Everybody, because your fans might not want to hear about your event every single day, but this way, you can have it sort of in a prime location, even though you're going to probably have other content to talk about in that time period. So just like with highlighting, you can unpin the post very easily. Sort of right below the pinning feature. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so after 7 days, Facebook will automatically remove the pin, and it will go back to its original location chronologically, wherever it should be. And I think that you can repin it to the top after that 7 days and put it back up there. You can pin, it doesn't have to be a current post. You could go back and pin something, a photo album from a great event that you had 3 months ago. You could pin it up to the top if you wanted to have that content up at the top of your page. I don't see why not. I think you can be creative how you use it. And you can obviously you can unpin it before 7 days just by doing the unpin if you don't want it up there for a whole week. So while we're in that kind of button area, I'll just show you this date feature. And so this is a new thing that Facebook's really rolling out. I think that they're becoming more in tune with the way that people are using fan pages, and they're becoming aware that a lot of people have big teams or small teams working on their Facebook pages and multiple different people. So they're really building in this customizing date feature. So right here you can change the date. I think you can only change it to a date in the past, but maybe not actually. Yeah, it looks like you can only, when you do it that way, you can only change it to a date in the past. So that's, you can't really think of a really good example why you would want to put something into the past, but it's there. I mean, if you wanted to, if you really, I don't know, that was bad. I shouldn't have shown you that because I don't really have a good example. But when it is great, okay, so join us for a concert at Buell Community Park today. So this post that I've been featuring here, it's about a concert series at the Buell Community Park in front of the Children's Museum. So the next concert's on Wednesday. Today's Monday. So I'm going to be really busy on Monday. I don't have time to wait around until 10 a.m. and post this. So now, and this is really exciting for me, Facebook allows you to schedule your posts into the future. So previously, I don't know if any of you have used Hootsuite, but Hootsuite and TweetDeck and things like that are what I always use to schedule my postings. And it was great for the convenience of being able to schedule things in the future, or when you have events going on, it's very difficult to remember or have time to post to Facebook because you're organizing an event, but you still want to tell people the event started, people are arriving, and the performer just went on, or different things, and you don't always have time to do that. So I would use Hootsuite. But in Hootsuite, you couldn't tag places. There was just like limited things. When you posted a photo, it kind of posted like a link to a photo. It didn't show up. People could tell it was not like a post from Facebook, or at least I could tell. So now with Facebook, we could even say, join us for a concert at Buell Community Park at the Children's Museum of, alright, maybe it's not the, sorry guys. Okay. So, you guys are all familiar with tagging a page to make it a hyperlink. Do you know what that means? Does anybody not know what that means? Okay, so this is a great thing, and you should totally do this all the time. When you tag a page, it becomes a link. So you can see down here in the post that I did on Friday, it goes on and on and on, but I wanted to mention this was at the Children's Museum, or in front of the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh, and that the new Hazlitt Theater was also one of the sponsors of this event. So those organizations all have their own Facebook pages. And what happens when you tag it is it becomes a link. So you're sort of providing extra services to your fans. They can click right through to the Children's Museum page and see, what I don't really know what that is. What's the address? They can click right through, and you don't have to spell it all out for them. If they want to learn what's the new Hazlitt Theater, they can click through. So it's really providing a service. I try to explain to people that, you're all nonprofits, but with retailers, when you're talking on your Facebook fan page, I try to discourage them from talking about themselves and their own product all the time because they all want to do that. So, I try to get them to, 30% of the time or 40% of the time to talk about community efforts that they do, community partners that they work with, other events that they've maybe donated, something to the silent auction or something like that. And so this is a great way that they can tag other people's pages and sort of provide extra knowledge and extra service to their fans, to your fans, and not just making it all about you. Because I know as nonprofits in Pittsburgh, you all work with so many other people. This is almost a way to sort of help them out. And maybe down the line, they would tag your page, and all of their fans would see your link and go over and like your page. Does that clear it up a little bit? Okay, so in order to do it, you need to know what the name of the page is. That's how I kind of got Whaley, because I was typing the Children's Museum. So you sort of have to do a little bit of research ahead of time and know that it's called just Children's Museum of Pittsburgh. So what you do is type @ so it's almost like you're on Twitter, and you start typing the name, and it'll come up with different options, and you just keep typing until, it might not come up because it's already, you can only tag something once in a post. But so say we wanted to tag the Children's Hospital or the Homeless Children's Education Fund, you can just click on it and it would become a hyperlink. So when you click post, it'll become a live link just like you see down here. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, so that definitely impacts it, and I think that whoever's logged in, I think Facebook has improved this a lot, because I used to notice that pages that I was personally a fan of would pop up first, and posting as a page, I didn't really want my personal likes to impact, what pages I was able to tag. So Facebook's really improved it a lot. But it definitely, Facebook knows where you are and where you go, what you like to do. So definitely the pages that it feels will be relevant to you will probably pop up first. But you just keep typing out whatever it is, and it should show up. It's not a perfect system like anything technological. So, sometimes some pages won't show up, and there's sort of no rhyme or reason for it. I don't believe that there's, I used to think that there was a setting that people could prohibit you from tagging them, but there's not. So it's just kind of a glitch, I think, when it doesn't show up. But, the one thing I can recommend is definitely know the exact name of the page so that you make sure you're linking to the right thing. A lot of people also have duplicate pages that, one might be like one of those Wikipedia pages that they don't really update themselves. It just kind of exists there on Facebook. So you want to make sure that you're tagging the page that's actually active when you're doing that. So like I said, it's a great way to sort of build community on Facebook with other partners that you work with in real life. When you tag them, maybe they'll tag you. I frequently will send people emails explicitly asking them to tag our page with directions on how to do it, the @ symbol, and then type our name. So you can never be too obvious when asking people to do that kind of stuff. Yes?
Create the link without trying.
Yeah. Yes.
So if I don't find it, how do I do that?
You just...
I didn't know how it happened.
Yeah, I think that you just hit the space bar, and the link option should go away. Just keep typing. If you keep typing and are you talking about with people or with fan pages?
Organization.
Yeah. Sometimes it will just automatically come up even if you don't really want it to. So you just keep typing whatever your regular messages, and that pop-up menu will go away.
Okay.
Is that answered?
And then you just gotta choose.
Yeah, you just don't select one of those pop-up options, and it won't happen. Yeah, I can show you.
I don't think that I did choose.
I can try to show you if I can. Let's see. Well, this isn't going to be a sensical message, but we'll just, for example's sake. So, visit Pittsburgh. So, like, these are all different things. Like, say I did not want that to become a link. I didn't want Pittsburgh is art to become a link. You would just kind of keep typing, and that menu thing goes away. So then you could go back and delete the @ sign. And sometimes I'll do that if I'm trying to tag a page, but the page I want is not coming up. I'll have to go back and delete the @ sign because I don't want it to link to just some random thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. That's okay.
Choose the exact page rather than the home
You mean an individual tab? Not in this manner. No. Yeah. It'll just be a link to their page or place or whatever. Yeah. That's a good question though. Okay, so now I have this post ready. This concert is Wednesday at noon or something, and I'm not going to be around. So schedule here, you would add the year. Unfortunately, I really wish they would add a button that says today, so you could set like today's date and go from there, but we're not there yet. July, and let's see, that would be the 25th, I think. So let's add 10 a.m. You can even add a minute, approximately, and I would say schedule. So it will be published on that day. To edit or cancel it, visit your activity log. So you can click right there, but I'll show you the hard way to get there just so that you know. If you go up to the top of your page and go under edit page, say use activity log. And this is kind of a snapshot of all the different activity that happens on your page. I don't really often look at this because you can just look at your page and see all of it anyhow, but this is just it in list form, so you're not as distracted by layout or highlighting or pinning or things like that. It's just all in order right here. So you'll see whenever you do scheduled posts, they show up right at the top here. So to edit or change it, you would just click here. I'm going to cancel it because I don't actually want that to go out. So does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so one of the key components to being able to do a scheduled post is you have to set a date that your organization was founded or started or opened or something like that. Has everybody done that, or has anybody done that? Okay, so that's also one of the new features with the timeline. So you'll see on the right-hand side here, we have a couple different dates. Now, I'm sure some of you have organizations that have been founded a very long time ago. The Pittsburgh organization, or whatever you want to call it, has only been around for a couple of years, so we don't have a very long timeline over here. So if you were to click, you would click on 2011, and it would take you down to different posts that we did in 2011. So all the content before timeline, before that was integrated, all your content is still on there. You can go back and find it all. And this is actually a nice way because, previously you would just have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling if you wanted to find something old. This way, you can click on the dates and, click on whatever month and sort of see what you were talking about. But if you go down here, there's a thing that says created. So, yes. Thank you. Yes. So you could use the post date for this. You can also use the post date to post a picture of when your business was opened or when you moved into your offices, if you have a picture of that, or some sort of groundbreaking ceremony, you could like post a photo or something like that. That is a really good point. So back here, created is the word that I chose. When you actually do this, there's different options for founded, created, started, opened. There might be one or two others, but whatever kind of word best identifies with your type of business or organization, you can choose that. And I just did 2010 because we didn't have a exact date, but you can certainly choose down to the month and down to the day for when your organization was started. So you have to do that in order to schedule any posts. If you try to schedule a post for next week, it will say, you can't do this, you have to first tell us when your business or when your nonprofit was started. So Facebook will kind of walk you through it if you try to schedule something, but just so that you know. And we didn't really have a photo to put here, but I would definitely encourage putting a photo there. It could be, people love looking at old photos, so if you've been around for a very long time, if you find something from the archives from your organization, that could be great, or an old logo from a long time ago, pretty much anything. The logo might be good because it's not specific to a certain date, but you can be creative with that, and like you see here, it will automatically become the highlight width on the page. So when you are picking a photo, try to pick something horizontal. Yes? You cannot add a photo album, or this is called a milestone. You can't do a photo album for a milestone, you can just do a single photo. But you could post date a photo album. Okay. All right. So, any questions so far? Okay. So let me just look at what else I want to talk about here. Okay. So back up to the top of the page. Looking through a lot of your pages, and I'm assuming that I was able to see the links for most of the people here. A lot of people had really great pages, but there was a few that were not taking advantage of the cover photo. So I did like a training webinar thing with Facebook when they first came out with Timeline, and so their feeling is that they would like your profile picture here to be a pretty constant image, and it should be a logo or some kind of an image that people recognize with your organization, they associate with you. And that's sort of like the business section of the top of your page. The cover photo is sort of like the fun section of the top of your page. That's an image that you can change with the seasons or with different events. You could change it every week if you wanted to. It's one of those things, when you do change it, it will show up in all your fans' timelines. They'll see that Pittsburgh PGH changed their cover photo. So it's another good way to kind of send your fans over to your page. They might click through to kind of see what you change it to if it's a cool photo. It's definitely something you should utilize, and if you want to write this down, the dimensions for your cover photo are 851 pixels by 315 pixels. So if you know how to create an image in those dimensions, or if you have a graphic designer who does, definitely try to, even if you can edit it in preview, you can change, I don't know if you guys all use Macs, but in preview you can adjust the size of an image and you can crop it to those exact dimensions. So I would definitely recommend getting it as close to those dimensions as you can, because Facebook will just crop stuff out and it'll look weird. So if you have, if you start with good material, you'll end up with good material. So that's that. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so now for like a fun idea that you could do. For your cover photo, since it's really like the masthead of your Facebook fan page, it gets a lot of eyeballs. As soon as people go to your page, they see it. When people have tagged your page, your cover photo will sort of pop up and hover on the page. So it's something that people are definitely seeing. So a cool idea, I think, is to have a cover photo contest or a drawing contest or something like that. And I think especially with nonprofits, that's a really great idea, depending on, you know, what demographic you work with or who you help or who's involved. You could have like a kids drawing contest. We're probably going to be implementing this for Pittsburgh soon, is to invite kids aged 6 through 16 to draw a picture of what Pittsburgh means to them or their favorite thing in Pittsburgh or something like that. And we'll collect all these photos and hopefully they'll be the right size and all that kind of stuff. But then we'll be able to use them as our cover photo. You know, we'll put one picture up for a month, another one up for a month or something like that. But this is something where you could have people, you could put them all in an album and have your fans vote for it. You know, I definitely have experienced that if anybody has their kids' artwork in a photo album, they will tell all their friends to click over and like the picture. So it's a great way to also increase your fan number and just get more people looking at your page. And if the contest, a photo contest or a drawing contest, can relate to your mission, then, you know, all the better. Or if you want to have a drawing contest for someone to draw a new logo for you, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, as interactive as you can be with people, the better. And with things like that, I mean, I would milk it for all it's worth and have, you know, organizations that you partner with in real life, again, say, oh, come out, check out so-and-so's page. They're having a contest for this. And, you know, just try and work with organizations just like you do in real life, but have them sort of talk about you and tag your page and provide a link to the contest album and things like that. So that's kind of a cover photo idea. You cannot schedule the cover photo. That's something you have to update live. So let me show you how to change that. If you just hover over it, this little button shows up to change cover. And this is all admin view. So just so that you all know, most of these buttons you will not see if you're not an admin on your page. So you go to change cover. You can choose from existing photos that you have in photo albums or things like that. And you can sort of experiment, do trial and error, and choose a photo from your photo albums, and it'll pop up, and you have the option to approve it or cancel it. So if you put something up there and find that it looks really bad as a cover photo, that you know it's a vertical shot and it's not really filling up the space, you can cancel it, and it won't take effect, and none of your fans will find out that you were like experimenting with it. So you could choose from photos. You could upload a photo from your hard drive. You can also reposition the image if you were to click that. This is edited to be the exact right size, so it doesn't have any wiggle room, but you could move it around. And then there's remove. So if you were to remove it, it would just be blank up here. You don't want to do that. Yeah. So maybe the wording is confusing. So the cover photo here, if you were to click on it, it just links to an album of all your other cover photos that you've had in the past. So these are the 3 different cover photos Pittsburgh has had. If you were to have sort of a photo contest where people could vote on stuff, that would be in a photo album, which photo albums also, I guess, technically have cover images, but I never really thought about that. It is kind of confusing wording, but you know, you could create a special dedicated album just for these contest images. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you add cover photo images to that photo
I don't know. I don't think so, no. No. But you can remove past cover photos. So if for some reason you didn't want it, say it was an image that you didn't have a photo release for the person in the image, you could always go back and remove it from this album here. Is that helpful? Okay. All right. So that's that. The dimensions for your profile picture are also important because as you see, it shows up in everything that you do. So, you know, it's very common that I see people are not utilizing the full square, and when you're using Facebook and other places, it becomes very small. So you want to make sure that your logo is high contrast and fills up that whole space, because if it's just a small, blurry thing that's like white and beige and yellow, it's not going to show up really well throughout Facebook. So if your logo is just small and white and gray and yellow, maybe put it on a black background or something like that, so that it pops a little bit throughout Facebook. So the dimensions for the cover image, for the profile picture, I don't know that off the top of my head quite as well, but I believe it's 160 by 160. So it's a perfect square. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, those are sort of all different ways to kind of customize your page and make it look like you really know what you're doing and it's all filled out. I don't know if any of you use LinkedIn, but you know how LinkedIn tells you like you're 85% complete, and it always drives me crazy because I want to be like 100% complete. Some of these steps will kind of get your Facebook fan page towards being 100% complete if you're concerned about doing that like I am. Up here, while we're at the top of the page, some of these other like little icons here are what used to be tabs or pages, I guess, in your fan page. So you can have more than what's displayed up here. People can see more or less by clicking this little arrow on the side, and you can customize to a certain extent what people see up here. So by clicking this edit tab here, you can adjust the position. So this is really good because if you want to send people, say you have more than just 3 boxes up here, you might have another one for notes, another one for videos, you know, different things that are going on in your page. But you really want to make sure people know about your Twitter account. Well, you could, you know, create a special tab for Twitter and just pop it up into the top line. Because, as you know, clicks are highly prized, so people don't always click to see more options down here. So you want to make sure that the things that are most important to you are in this top row here. So, whoops. Sorry. Yeah, so you'll see here, when I click on this edit thing, it says swap position with, and there's only one option, right, for this page right here, and that's likes. And that means that photos always has to be the first box here. And I haven't really figured out any way to get around that. This is kind of the only option for photos. It has to be the first square, but anything else you can change to any position. So we can solve that. If you had many more boxes on there, when you hit this button, there would be many more things showing up at the bottom. So that sort of explains like the front page of your fan page right here. You can edit your profile picture in the same way that you can change your cover photo just by hovering over it and then saying to edit it, and it gives you the same options. Actually, there's one more option, take photo, and I think that's geared a lot more towards personal profile pages, because I would really not recommend taking a webcam photo of yourself for your fan page profile picture. So that's that for your page. So now I'm going to kind of show you some ways to do things not on your page to kind of get away from only interacting on your page, because there's a lot more ways to interact with people. Best way to do that is to go up to the top here and click Edit Page and say Use Facebook as Pittsburgh or whatever your page is called. So you click that, and immediately you'll notice that up here my profile picture and my name are gone, and now you can see I'm logged into Facebook as Pittsburgh PGH, and I'll be using Facebook now as Pittsburgh. So if I were to click Facebook icon at the top to go back to my news feed, you'll see everything that shows up are pages that Pittsburgh is a fan of. So fan pages cannot be friends with any people, but you can be fans of as many other pages as you would like. So we're a fan of Venture Outdoors, so their postings show up here, the Pittsburgh CLO, this computing workshop, just all different things that Pittsburgh has become a fan of. So if you've never used Facebook have any of you used Facebook as your fan page before? You don't count. Nobody? Okay, so you have to do this because it's just like being a two-way street, with everything else that I was talking about and working with your community partners. So you would just go on, and if you don't like any other pages, the only thing that will show up here is your own posts. So in order to start liking other relevant pages, you might want to like if you have some big corporate sponsors or small businesses who've sponsored you, or a venue where you've hosted an event or something like that. You should definitely start by searching for them. So it's exactly how it would be if you were logged in as a person. You would just start searching up here. So we'll just kind of continue with our children's. Yeah, so this is a news feed, just like if you were to log in as a person, your news feed would show everyone that you're a friend with and everyone that you're a fan, all the pages that you're a fan of. When you're logged in as a fan page, you can't be friends with people, you can only like other pages. So what you see here is just like the news feed, and it's just like being logged in as yourself. There's the option here to sort, so you could view it chronologically, or what Facebook considers to be the top stories, which are the stories with the most views, the most likes, the most comments, things like that. I typically change it to most recent because it's more timely. Sometimes the top stories are posts from like last week, so I'll typically change it to most recent. So, okay, so here's a picture of these great kids. They were at water camp and things like that. So as Pittsburgh, that's a post that's pretty relevant to us. What you could do is like the page, and it'll show up that Pittsburgh and this person likes this post. So, that's a way that you could use that. But in order to do that, you need to like pages first. So to do that, we'll just continue with the Children's Museum theme that we have going on here. So just like when you're logged in as a person, you can search in that search bar, but the only thing that will really show up is pages and places. So the only difference really is that places are places that have like a real address that you could go to that they have listed on their page, and you could check in at it. So here under places, you can see a bunch of different things. When I search Children's Museum, show up Indianapolis, Phoenix, Denver, Boston, and here's Pittsburgh. So you would click on it. I already like their page on behalf of Pittsburgh, but if I did not, it would have a button here that says like. And I would just click it, and then I would like their page. So it's hard for me to think of something that we don't like because it wouldn't really be on top of my mind, but like maybe Bakery Square. Yeah, so we haven't, we have not yet liked Bakery Square, but Bakery Square has a Learning Express downstairs, and they do a lot of kid-friendly events and things like that. So I'll go ahead and like it. So now when I go back to my newsfeed, any post from Bakery Square will show up in my newsfeed. So if they were to hold, some kind of kid-friendly music series or something like that here, I could comment on it or like it, or I could even share their post with our fans. Is this making sense? I see a lot of confused expressions. Any questions? No? Okay. So is this like repetitive for anybody? Useful? Okay. Okay.
So I'm just a
Yeah.
So when I'm doing it as an admin and then like it just shows up in the timeline. You're going to get it
So that it gets the timeline.
so it's not on but more
Okay, so this is where we started on your fan page. Okay, so we went up here and we went to use Facebook as Pittsburgh, and I clicked on that, and it logged me in as the page. And then all I did was I clicked over here to the Facebook icon on the top corner, and that just took me to my home page of Facebook, which is my news feed. So does that make sense? Okay, cool. So yeah, so see, there's totally bugs in this thing. So it says there are no more posts to show right now. Meanwhile, we like hundreds of pages, so I don't really know why it tells us that, but we could try to just refresh it. Sorry about this. Okay, well, I can use this as an example. So this is not really hugely relevant to Pittsburgh, but if it were, and I felt that our fans would really benefit from it if it was, some sort of free activity for kids in the summer, or news about a student who had gotten some great award and they were from Pittsburgh, and I thought that fans of Pittsburgh would really like this story. I could click share down here and say like check this out, and it would show up on my feed. All my fans would see it, and it would give a link to the Penguins photo album here. And when I did it, it would show up as Pittsburgh PGH via Pittsburgh Penguins. So people would know where you got the content from, and that sort of covers you too in terms of usage and things like that. You want to be careful, especially as a nonprofit, that you're not using photos without permission or anything like that. So when you click share, it's credited to the original source and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry. It's all very transparent and it's out there. So this is a great way if you wanted to sort of get a double whammy out of it. You could tag the Pittsburgh Penguins fan page on it, or I could tag a youth hockey club that I know about in the post and say, they might want to check this out. It's just another way to sort of provide service to your fans, provide some unique knowledge that they can't get from another fan page. That's why they like your fan page. So you can easily cancel out of that. You don't have to share it if you change your mind. And just, you can see Facebook definitely has glitches all the time. There should be way more stories below this. And sometimes when I click on share, if you start typing something, and especially I find this if I copy and paste, sometimes I'll type the status message that I want in another application, and then I'll copy and paste it into there. If you want to go back and edit, sometimes it won't let you. It kind of like freezes it up, and you have to like cancel and redo it. So just be aware, if that happens, you're not doing it wrong. It's just a problem that Facebook has from time to time, and it's just a glitch. So that sort of shows you how to interact more with other pages. And sort of the theory behind doing that is that right now, if you don't like any other pages, the only people who see your content are your fans. So the only way that one of the ways that you're going to grow your fan base is by telling other people that your fan page exists. So, the Pittsburgh Penguins page has over 1 million likes. So if I were to comment down here or like it or share it, people would see that Pittsburgh had done that, and potentially those 1 million people could know about my page existing. So, if someone posts something and you have some, you can say something like, oftentimes I'll just say like, great post, thanks for sharing this, just kind of generic things, and it's just kind of a strategy to kind of get your name out there. But with all of you, I'm sure you'll have such a wealth of knowledge in your areas of expertise. You can easily comment on other things in a really helpful, constructive way and add even more value to those comments and shares and likes and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So I definitely believe that if you all start liking other pages and interacting with them, you'll definitely see a jump in the traffic and the likes and the interaction on your own pages. So, I think that all definitely transfers into web traffic and real life interaction as well. So, okay. So, another really sort of key thing that I want to show a lot of you have already done this on the fan pages that I was able to see, but if you haven't, and it's definitely something you want to do, I believe I have to switch back to myself to do that. Oh yeah. You don't always want to be logged into your page, so in order to switch back to yourself, you just click this little arrow up here, and any other pages that you're an admin on will show up, but your personal profile will show up first. So you just click on it and it goes back to you. Right. So whenever you're talking about your Facebook fan page in realms other than Facebook, you want to make it as easy as possible for people to find your Facebook fan page. So if you have this big long link that's facebook.com/# 192847765/ your name, it's really inconvenient for people to type that in. So you would ideally like to have a nice, pretty vanity URL with your nonprofit's name. So if you haven't done that yet, you have to, first of all, have at least 25 fans, and I think you all do. So you go to facebook.com/username. There may be other ways to do this, but this is how I do it. I've already set mine for my personal one. You can do that too for your personal one if you so desire. But down here, your page, all your pages will show up. So obviously you have a lot of pages here. But and I think that they're all pretty much set. But yeah, so this is already set. What you would do, once you select the page that you would like to customize, this little text box will show up. And you can type in, obviously, I think there's some kind of a character limit. I don't really know off the top of my head, but it's probably pretty long. And you would just type in what it is. If it's something, if you wanted it to be like /volunteer Pittsburgh, that is probably already taken. So if you try to do that, Facebook will tell you that's already taken, and then they'll recommend you could do like volunteer Pittsburgh, like 487, and all these silly options. But ideally, you should change it to something more unique that works for you. Be very careful when you're typing this out because you can't. I think you can change it one time after you set it. So if your organization were to completely change names, you could go back and change it once. Or if you had a typo or something like that, you can only change it one time. So really make sure that you don't have any typos when you do this. I had another page that I adminned, and it was multiple words, and one of the words was not capitalized, and all the others were. And I could not wait to change it so that they were all capitalized. It was driving me crazy, but that's that. So you can see it says right here, you may change this username once. So that's something that I definitely would recommend you all doing. Yes?
This is your Facebook page.
So it's kind of confusing when you look at mine because I'm an admin on so many pages. When I click on that scroll down, like 20 things show up. But when all of you do it, I would imagine there might be 1 to 5, depending on how many pages you're admin on. So you would select the page that you'd like to change. If I wanted to change Keystone Coachworks, which is a business in the South Hills, I could change it. And so what this is when people type in facebook.com/whatever, if they type /Keystone Coachworks, it would take them directly to their page without all the extra digits and things like that. So this is great. I hope that if you ever have a budget to do print ads or anything else like that, that you're including a link or something to your Facebook on those things. You definitely should. I really believe in an integrated approach to all of your marketing. If you're going to be spending dollars on advertising in print or billboard or something like that, why not let them know about your Facebook fan page if you're already going to be spending the money on it. So this is a great way to have a short link that you can easily include in a print ad. It's not going to take up a lot of space. Something that I've seen people do before is they'll just put the little blue Facebook F icon, and then they'll do whatever their short name is, their username, page name. They'll do like a slash, do some pitch where it's like all spelled out, so people will know to go right there. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you could do just the small little Facebook thing if you were doing an ad somewhere, and then people could go onto Facebook and try to search for you. But the advantage of having this little username is that if you have room, you can just pop it in and make sure they're going to the right page. It can be confusing. So, all right. Okay, so that was everything that I had in my notes for today, and I think judging on sort of the different questions that everyone has had, there's a couple other things that I had on here, but I think that they might be too much information than is really useful. One of the other things I was going to cover is admin roles. This is a new feature that Facebook has, and this is if you had a lot of admins on your page, you can limit the access and the privileges that some people have. Is anybody interested?
Can you talk about how you add admins?
Yeah.
Right now, you're accessing through someone else's personal.
Yes. Absolutely. You bring up a great point, and this happens to me a lot when I'm working with businesses or nonprofits. Some people have no idea how to even access their page, and so it's definitely a concern. You want to make sure that that you have secure access, that you know how to get into your page. If this person were to have some huge falling out, what would you do? So let me go back to a page. We'll just do Pittsburgh. There's one person, and somebody in here, maybe they're not even here tonight, but they have their page set up as a person and not a page. And I have it on my laptop, and I won't call you out right this moment, but I'll look when we're done and tell you why you should definitely change over to a fan page and not a person. But most of you are set up as fan pages. So as you know, the only way to get in and edit a fan page is you have to be a person with a Facebook account, and that's how you can get in to edit your page. You have to be an admin on a page. So right here, you click on edit page and then admin roles, I guess is what they call it now. So these are the 5 different people who are admins on the Pittsburgh page. So I believe that you can have as many admins as you would like. As far as I know, there's not a limit. In order to add somebody, first of all, this is very important. They need to be a fan of the page in order to become an admin. So if you're trying to add somebody and it's like not working, make sure that they're a fan of your page, because that's a common sort of roadblock that people hit. And this is another area where Facebook kind of blurs the line between personal profile and fan page. If you are friends with a person on your own profile, then you can just start typing out their name. Like, I could make Bonnie a admin on here just by typing out her name and clicking on it. You would click save, and then you have to type in your own personal password that you use to log into Facebook. So it's pretty secure. If you were to leave your laptop open somewhere and someone went in and they tried to add themselves as an admin or something like that, they would need to know your own personal password in order to securely add them as an admin. So it's kind of an added security benefit there. However, if you're not friends with a person, which is often the case, you don't always want to be friends with all of your coworkers. you could just start typing out an email address. So that's my email address, and you want to make sure that it's the email address the person uses to log into Facebook. That's also another important thing. So sometimes people have several different email addresses. Maybe their work email address is not what they use to log into Facebook. So this will not work if you have an email address that's not associated with a Facebook account. Does that make sense? So typically I just put people's email address in because I'm not usually friends on Facebook with most of the other admins on pages. So you just want to make sure to click save. See, and then it asks for your password, and you just press confirm, and it would add the people, and they would get a little alert up here in their notification section saying that they've been added as an admin.
And then when they want to log in to do an admin work, they use their own password.
So all of these 5 people here, they log in as themselves into Facebook. You know, they go to facebook.com, put in their own information, and then they just navigate to the Pittsburgh page, either by searching up here, or when you're an admin on a page, your pages should all show up right here. So you could just navigate to it by clicking right there as well. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so I guess while we're here, again, I think this is kind of too much information, and I don't even personally use this setting as of the moment. But you can see right here that you can change the privileges that a person has. So if you had somebody on your team who wanted administrative access to your page, but you didn't really feel comfortable with them posting, maybe they're not very technologically savvy and you're afraid that they'll post their personal posts on your fan page because it's been known to happen, you could have them just set as a moderator. A moderator is a person who can comment on posts, but they cannot make original posts on your page. So you could do that. You could also do advertiser, and that's somebody who can only create ads for your page. They can't comment or create posts or anything like that, which I don't foresee anybody in this room needing to do that. But you could also have an insights analyst. So maybe you have some board members or something like that who are really into Facebook and they want to know the insights on your page. You would give them this kind of privilege setting, and then they could not make posts or comment as your page, but they could see the insights, the traffic, all that kind of stuff. So that manager has all the privileges. So speaking of insights, are you all familiar with your insights at all? Yeah. So you can see, you can get to it just by clicking right there. Then it'll show you when you've made posts, people who are talking about this, and the total reach for it. So you can find out more information just by clicking on the question mark here. It'll tell you exactly what all those different terms mean. You can also see the individual posts and the kind of virality and interaction that they had. And this is I would definitely recommend going back and looking and seeing what's been really popular. I was just recently developing a strategy for a page that has several thousand fans, and they weren't getting a whole lot of interaction. You know, they had like 25,000 fans, but they get like 3 likes on something. So we kind of went back and we looked at what kind of posts were really popular and which ones were not. And so I don't know how it turned out, but the most popular post they ever posted was on Easter, and they posted a picture of Easter eggs. And they got shares and comments and likes and all this stuff. Back on Groundhog Day, they posted something about the movie Groundhog Day and Bill Murray, and it got tons of interaction. So whether that's really relevant to their mission or not, it certainly got their name out there. So, lots of people saw that all their friends were liking this picture and they're all clicking through, and it got tons of great interaction. So we came up with a strategy that, in addition to a number of other things they would do throughout the year, I pinpointed a bunch of key holidays, both legitimate holidays and sort of fun, goofy holidays, and made some recommended posts for them to do so that they could kind of capitalize on that. So it's a great way to look back here and see, even if it's something silly like holidays, you can see kind of what's been popular. So that's on the admin, or on the insights section. Likes is another place that you can look, and I would just caution you to be too critical of these locations because they're tied into where people say they're living on their own profile. So you might say that you're from Pittsburgh, but you might be living in Los Angeles and you haven't updated it. Facebook thinks you live in Pittsburgh. So some of these might not be totally accurate, but it's definitely an approximate view of what's going on. Down here you can see it'll tell you where people are coming from to like your page, and I'm sure many of you will notice that mobile is becoming a more and more popular way to browse Facebook, so keep that in mind. Reach is very similar to likes. It kind of shows a larger view of who's seeing all of your content. Another thing, actually, external refers is this small little section buried way deep in your insights, but it's one of the most important things to me because I want to know where people are coming from to visit the fan page. So if you use Google Analytics and you look at traffic and traffic sources, this would be the equivalent to that on Facebook. So, I don't feel that it's particularly accurate because I'm sure we got more than 3 external hits on our page, hopefully. But it sort of gives you an idea of where people are coming from. So this is the website for our newsletter, and then down here, this is somebody's webmail account. So we recently sent out a Pittsburgh newsletter, and that might be somebody clicking on it from their webmail. So that's something that I look at, but again, I take it kind of with a grain of salt. And talking about this only works if you have more than 30 people, I think, talking about you, but maybe they've changed it since I last looked at it. Yeah. So that kind of gives you an overview. I hope that I provided some useful things, and yes. Yeah, that's a great idea. She mentioned talking about how often you should post or how often you should not post on your page. And I think people have different perspectives on this, and it's something that, again, you can look at your insights and sort of see how popular different things are. But I always guarantee to everybody that I work for that I'll post at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's sort of the minimum that I post. And I think it also has to do with how many fans you have. If you have 25,000 fans, you can post 5 times a day, and you're reaching a big enough audience that it's not going to be annoying. If you have 100 fans and you're posting 5 times a day, like maybe that small 100 people don't really want to see 5 posts from you every single day. When you're speaking to a bigger pool, you know, a little more wiggle room with that. But I think the most important thing is to make your posts newsworthy. So I wouldn't try to reach to have 4 posts every week if they're not really interesting or relevant or provide some kind of value to your fans. So, your posts are going to show up in your fans' news feeds, and it's taking up visual space on their page. And, even though a lot of people waste a lot of time on Facebook, maybe they don't have a lot of time on Facebook and they're just scrolling through really quickly. So you want to make sure that whatever you're putting out there is actually useful, that, or, somehow enriches their day in some way by seeing your post. So, just posting some kind of fluffy thing like, oh my gosh, another rainy day in Pittsburgh, like that's not really doing anything for anybody. So I would skip those kinds of posts and try to, if you're trying to fill up 3 or 4 posts a week, maybe go back through your archives and say, did you know in 1998 we helped 4,000 people find a job or something like that. Maybe you don't have a lot to say this week, but you can definitely look back in your history. And I think, as nonprofits, you've all done a lot of great work over many years. So Facebook's only been around for 6 or 7 years. So maybe you want to tell people about things that happened before Facebook existed. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's called, the app's called Pages. That's a great thing. I hadn't even thought about mentioning that, but it's great because you know how I clicked over and I used Facebook as Pittsburgh? When you have this Pages app, you're kind of using Facebook as the page whenever you're on there. So previously, if you were, just using the regular Facebook app, and going on your page, it's hard to have too much interaction. But this way, you can be sure that it's not going to show up as you. It's always going to show up as the page. And then, if you have your own personal notifications that show up, you got friend requests and stuff like that. That doesn't show up on Pages. So it's a lot cleaner separation between your profile and your page. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to questions, so people can feel free to ask me whatever questions you have. I think we've allocated 15 or 20 minutes. I don't remember what time it is right now. It's 7 o'clock now, so I think we have plenty of time if anybody has any specific things they want to ask about. Yes?
Yeah, I'm from Wolverine, and we get a lot of, I basically, I started working with them in January, trying to take over the World Vision Pittsburgh Facebook page in the last couple of months, but we get a lot of groups from, obviously, outside the area and outside the region, and even within the city, those people that come to our facility say that they exist. So for us to be able to get the word out about what we're doing is kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I don't know if it's possible or not. Are people able to tag themselves on a group pages, pictures, and get, how can I best spread, connect those out?
Yeah.
Because I can't, because they're individuals, and I can't friend them.
Right.
So how do I connect them to?
Yeah, tagging photos is a really great idea for that. So let me take you to another page. This is for a business, not a nonprofit, but we post a lot of photos, so you can probably find a good example. Okay, so Laramores, which is a store downtown, they recently hosted a lecture series that benefited Bethlehem Haven. So in here, okay, yeah. So I went through this album and I personally was friends with a lot of the people who were there, so I was able to tag them as a person since I'm friends with them. But as a fan, if you're just the fan page, you can't really do it. I tagged this girl, Tara McBride. She would have gotten a notification on her page that Tori Mystic tagged her, not that Lara Moores tagged her. So the only way to tag somebody is as a person. So if you didn't really want it to show up for them that you were doing it, you could ask them, you could maybe send out an email blast if you had people's contact information and say, hey, we just posted this album on Facebook, please go and tag yourself.
They can tag themselves.
They can tag themselves, yeah. All you do is just hover over the picture, and it's one of the first options right here. tag photo, and you would just click someone's face and start typing. I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to tag her, but whoops. Okay, done tagging. I only want one. So yeah, so when you tag somebody, it becomes a hyperlink, just like tagging a page, and the people show up there. You know, I went through and I tried to tag as many people as I knew, because it really, you know, let all their friends know about it. Actually, an even better example. Whoops. Okay, this is another page that I admin. We recently posted a photo. Let's see. Okay. Recently posted this photo. This was in Pittsburgh Magazine's like June or July edition, and it was on the Pittsburgh Magazine website. So we grabbed it from there and, you know, accredited Pittsburgh Magazine and all this stuff, but I happened to, just because I'm in this field, I knew who the model was, and I'm friends with her on Facebook, so I tagged her, Kristen, and I knew who the makeup artist was, so I tagged her, and I also knew the photographer, so I tagged her. And so we had 32 likes on it, and all the comments aren't really showing up here, but there were a ton of comments, and it was way more likes and comments than we typically get on our photos on that page, because we only have a little under 200 fans. So by tagging them, all of their friends saw Kristen was tagged in this picture on this fan page, and we got new likes from it. We got a ton more interaction from it. So that's definitely a great way to raise your awareness in the area. Does that help? Yeah, but people can tag themselves, and you have to be friends with somebody in order to tag them. So, you know, I personally don't mind in certain situations tagging people and having it show up for them that I tagged them. Doesn't bother me. In other situations, I wouldn't really do it. It's just kind of your own preference. But, you know, definitely back to that integrated approach. Use an email blast or something and send it out to everybody and say, you know, we just posted this album, please tag yourself, because it makes a big difference. Any other questions?
Can you talk a little bit more about, you mentioned several times, the integrated approach, so there's the email, the web page, and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you're thinking about your strategy, how do you determine which is which and which connects to which, and what makes the most sense?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I find that you're going to have a different group of people on your email list than you do on Facebook, than you do on Twitter, and then you're visiting your website. So they're almost like three different groups of people, but I mean, there will be a lot of overlap between all that. Some people will interact with you on every platform, and some people will just do one or maybe two. So you want to be conscious of not overloading them with the same information all the time, because some of these people might be interacting with you on everything, but some of them definitely aren't. So the advantage of a blog, for example, is you can write a much longer thing. You can embed photos in it. You can embed videos in it. You know, it's a long form way of communicating. On Twitter, you can write a very short, maybe the headline, and put a link to the blog post. On Facebook, you could, you know, I've done this before. If you have a lot of photos in your blog post, you could create a photo album of those photos with a link to the blog post in the description of each photo. And that's kind of a different way of promoting your blog post. You could send out an email blast saying, you know, check out what's new on our blog. And then, you know, have links to your Facebook and your Twitter. And if any of you use Constant Contacts, they have a really easy way to integrate share buttons right into the header of your email. In order to do that, because they recently changed, if you're not doing that right now, it's not really Facebook related, but I guess it is. You're creating an email blast in Constant Contact, and you click to edit the header information, which is like the subject line, and maybe like the list that you're sending it to, I think. There will be a little pop-up option with like a checkbox that say add share buttons. So the default is to have that box unchecked. So you want to make sure that you go in and check off that box. So that there'll be like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then like a little plus sign for like other options, you know what I'm talking about? And it'll show up right at the top of every email that you send out, right above your, masthead or header on your email blast. So make sure that you do that. A lot of times people will have their Facebook posts automatically tweet, and that can be a good way to send your Twitter followers over to your Facebook fan page so that they can view a photo album or read a note or watch a video or something like that. I think that you just go to facebook.com/Twitter. Yeah. So you just go to facebook.com/Twitter, and all your fan pages again will show up, and ones that I already have linked to Twitter do not have a box here, but ones that are not linked to Twitter do have the box. So all you would do is do that and make sure that you're logged into Twitter on twitter.com, and it'll just kind of do its thing and mesh it all together so that all your posts from Facebook go to Twitter. So it's a good way to populate your Twitter feed without having to really spend a lot of time on Twitter doing it. But again, it's not always ideal because your Facebook posts are longer than tweets. So frequently they get cut off mid-sentence. But Twitter provides like a little link back to the original post on Facebook. So, if you're going to do that, you might want to be cognizant of having the first 110 or so characters somehow relevant to whatever the post is about, so that the people on Twitter, know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think that it all has to kind of work together. I've been involved in some other organizations and businesses where they have like a different person handling everything, and it's very difficult. I work with one business where they have one girl who does the blog, and I have no idea when she's going to do a blog post and when it's going to show up on the page, and I keep asking her for a schedule, and I just can't get it. And so sometimes I'll do a status update or post a photo album, and like 15 minutes later she'll post a blog post, and it just drives me crazy because you're not getting as much reach and interaction because they're happening at the exact same time. It's better to split them up over several hours or post one the next day or something like that. Because again, most people are interacting with your page through their newsfeed. So if you do both your posts like within 15 minutes, they're going to quickly get pushed down to the bottom of the chronological feed. So that always drives me crazy. But does that help? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. I think that also, this is kind of out of the realm of just Facebook, but when you're doing a blog post, a lot of people don't include hyperlinks in your blog posts. There's nothing wrong with doing a blog post about why someone should be a fan of you on Facebook and follow you on Twitter. Say, recently on Facebook we posted a photo album of this, and we provided links to sign up for these activities, and come like us over there so you know what's going on too, and provide links through it. You could do a post about that. Some businesses that I start working with, and they just kind of start out on Facebook, I tell them to send out an email blast to their whole list. It just says, we're on Facebook, or like us on Facebook. Just very simple, not a long-winded thing at all. But it tells people who are on your email list about Facebook and on your blog about your Facebook and vice versa. Yes.
When you do the kind of contents that you were talking about, when people are sending photos or artwork, do you have them put it right on your page? Do you have permission set so that would go right onto your page? Do you have them submit in some other way?
I've done it both ways, but I think sometimes the problem is people's own personal privacy settings have it set that their photos can only be viewed by their friends or friends or something like that. So if you're not friends with them, you're not, even if they post on your page a photo, you might never see it. So that's definitely a problem that I've experienced in the past. It depends on how big of a pool of people you're going to have, how many entries you anticipate getting. If it's just a few, you could probably do it that way and people can, let you know personally if they don't see their entry up there or something. But what's really ultimately better is if people can email a photo to an address, info at or something like that. There's also the message feature on fan pages. Are you familiar with that? They could message the page. It's just like sending you an email, but it's all built into Facebook. And there's no real privacy settings issues related to photos in that way. So that's a better way to do it rather than having to just do a wall post. Because with wall posts, a lot of posts don't show up for some reason, because of people's personal settings. There's also a lot of third-party apps that allow you to run contests through them. You can install the app on your page. One that I've used before is called Offer Pop. Offer Pop. And they have a website, a fan page, and an app on Facebook. And I think that they charge you to use it, but the rates depend on how many fans you have or how long your contest is. And if it's a short contest and you don't have very many fans, it might be great. I'm not exactly sure. But if you check that out, it's even better because you can customize how people enter. It'll have a little entry form. It'll ask people for their email address, their name. You can even ask for their mailing address. And then you could add all the, it'll have a little disclaimer that will be added to your distribution list. And then you can really get all their info.
And that way you're comfortable with that information.
Yeah. That is a more seamless way to do it, and it's also probably more in line with Facebook's terms of service because I think they're not hugely fond of running your own photo contest on your page, but unless you're Pepsi or something like that, I don't really foresee it being a problem unless you have millions of fans. It's difficult to manage if you get too many entries. So using the third-party app, has many advantages. Any more questions? No? That's anything you want me to cover that I haven't talked about? Okay. Well, okay, I'm going to put someone over that's not right here because let me see who looks that up. Okay, who is the Polish Hill Community Association? You're set up as a person, you need to be set up as a fan. So I just noticed that because I was trying to just kind of look at everyone's page and see how many likes everyone had, and you didn't have a section for likes, and I was like, how did she get around that?
Yeah, we're definitely trying to transition.
Yeah. So to transition, unfortunately, there's no way to just like merge yourself into a page. You have to start all new, and you have to delete the person. What I would recommend doing is creating a new page, and over the course of a couple weeks or even a month, tell all your friends on the profile to come over and like the new page because the profile is going to be deleted soon. And then you can move some photos. You can move all your old content manually over to the new fan page, but then be sure to delete the person because people will probably keep friend requesting you and you're kind of missing out on them. But you do that. Yes. Yeah, I really don't think that having answering to your social media is the best way to go about it because there is high turnover with interns and some of them are really great and wonderful, but a lot of them are very unreliable. And you don't know them very well. They haven't been an employee with you for very long. So if they're an admin on your page, it would make me kind of nervous. You want to think the best of people, but it just kind of makes me nervous. It's not very secure way to do things, especially if they're only going to be there for a couple months or even less. So I would definitely designate somebody and maybe even have several people in your organization as admins, because like I said, if you have some kind of falling out or whatever, and someone is the only admin on your page, then you sort of lose access to your page, and that would be really terrible. So, you might want to check and have a couple different people be admins on the page. And like I said, it's great to have one person in charge of it. And sort of what I do is I just tell people, email me what you want to go up, and I'll work it into the schedule for a week. Because if people just go on and post things like whenever they want, we all don't know what's going on and when things are going up. So, that might sort of inundate one person's email box, but hopefully they could just create a folder. Maybe instruct everyone in the organization to have the subject line be, Facebook post